So in this year's NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons will have the 5th pick. This isn't surprising. We all know Detroit is clearly rebuilding right now, but this pick is important because right now Detroit has a decent amount of young talent, but right now they don't have enough to make that playoff push. So if they could select the right guy in this draft, maybe it could push that to that level or even close to it. So that's led me to make this video where I'll be discussing who I think the Pistons will select. I'm going to be talking about the 3 most likely prospects that they'll select. Then in the video, I'm going to come to a conclusion on who I think they will choose. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video. It does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want more NBA content like draft stuff, playoff stuff, etc. Also drop a comment in this video. I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. The first prospect I want to discuss that the Detroit Pistons could potentially select with the 5th overall pick is Ivy from Purdue. Ivy definitely is a guy who could be good straight out the gate. He's a 6'4" shooting guard, very strong, very lanky, one of the fastest players in the draft, a very explosive athlete who excels in transition, also a really good cutter to the rim, has really good timing, can finish really well at the rim, even amongst the trees. He's also a solid passer who can pass in the pick and roll solidly. Also a really good defender. He has the speed to stay in front of a lot of defenders on ball, and he's really good at getting steals in the passing lanes. He has all the physical tools to be an above average defender. He's also an above average rebounder for his size. When it comes to his 3-point shot, he shot 41% from 3 on 5 attempts, showing the ability to hit some shots off the dribble, but he's not elite at it or anything like that. He also has shown the ability to occasionally make floaters from the mid-range area. To talk about his weaknesses, even though he plays with a lot of energy, sometimes it could be a deterrent to the team as he'll be way too energetic, make dumb decisions like fouling when he shouldn't, forcing a drive, forcing a turnover. He gets a lot of charges called on him for a guard. His shot selection at times can be really bad. He also gets a lot of turnovers and not enough assists to make up for it. Overall, his weaknesses is his IQ, and he's an average ball handler at best, but I don't think it would be a terrible move for the Sacramento Kings to select him now, because I think he could be a guy who could help you straight out the gate as a rookie. The second prospect I want to discuss that the Detroit Pistons might select with the 5th overall pick is Keegan Murray. He's a 6'8" power forward with all the physical attributes to play well consistently in the front court in the NBA. Moves really well for his size and has solid athleticism, especially off 2 feet. He can also space the floor, which is very important. Shot 40% from 3 on 5 attempts in college. He's more of a catch and shoot shooter. He's not really going to do anything off the dribble, but obviously that's very valuable because you need your power forward to be able to shoot. He can attack closeouts, do pull-up mid-range jump shots, and just straight up attack the rim. Also good in open space. Also good in pick and pop situations that could be useful with a guy like Cade Cunningham. Also capable of using the post up. He also has lots of moves like his turnaround or his post hook. He can also get by his defenders with that first step. He gets past a lot of big and slower players consistently. Also a guy who's really efficient. He never's taking any shots that's out of his game, never forcing any shots, and that's always a bonus. He's also a guy who likes to hustle. Pretty good shot blocker in college. He averaged 2 blocks a game. Also a really solid rebounder. He averaged 9 a game and 3 offensive a game. And something that's really underrated in the NBA is offensive rebounding. And if he's able to do that in the league, that could be huge for whatever team he goes to. But if he goes to the Pistons, obviously that's a plus. He can also guard the perimeter at a solid level for a 4. And to talk about some negatives with his game, there might be a question of whether or not he can actually play the power forward position at the next level, because he really is undersized at that position. We'll have to see if he's strong enough, long enough, athletic enough to consistently play that position and not just get outmatched by other forwards in the league. He's also a guy who's not good at shot creating at all. You will never call an isolation for him right now. His handles are really loose. He's also a guy who really struggled when defenses were physical with him. But he's also not much of a passer. He's not a ball hog, but he's just not a guy who passes well. He's not going to make any astounding passes. He can make the most basic passes, but that's it. You're not going to ask him to be a post playmaker or something like that. This guy's a really intriguing prospect. He might be the best pure scorer in the draft. I think he's kind of like a wild card to a certain degree, but if he pans out, he could be a really just good player in the league. I don't see him having like as much potential as the other guys in the draft. I think there's a lot of guys with way more potential as him, but I would say he's a somewhat safe pick. The final prospect I want to discuss that the Detroit Pistons might select with the 5th overall pick is Shaedon Sharpe. He's a guy who didn't play as much as the other prospects in college. If we're being honest, most of the reason why people are so impressed with him is because he was the #1 recruit coming out of high school. He's definitely been good enough in high school to be regarded this high. Shaedon is a prospect who looks like he's going to be great going into the future. Not saying he's like a raw prospect, because he's actually very skilled, one of the most skilled players in this draft, but definitely not someone you'd expect to just come in and play amazing straight out the gate. To talk about his strengths, he's an incredible athlete. Most people think he's the most athletic player in the draft, maybe only behind Jaden Ivey. He's also pretty strong, so you don't have to worry about that. In high school, he showed the ability to be a 3-level scorer. He had very good length as he has a near 7-foot wingspan. On the defensive side of the floor, he showed good speed and was able to keep up laterally with a lot of ball handlers, able to use his length to get in steals in the passing lanes. Also a really good transition player. He has a solid shot creation ability, can definitely shoot the ball, put the ball on the floor, can break down defenders with a step back that gives him a lot of space. He can even post up against smaller guards. To talk about the negatives with Shaedon Sharpe's game, he has a questionable intensity and focus at times. Sometimes he's just completely out of the game, whether it's disappearing on offense or just not trying on defense. They also question whether or not he has enough like speed to consistently blow by defenders at the NBA level. He also takes some questionable shots, and just straight up, a lot of the hype like surrounding him is coming out of high school. Obviously, he was an amazing high school player, we all get that, but to be honest, college is a whole nother animal compared to high school, and we never really saw him at college. So there's a lot of questions of whether or not he's going to be one of those guys who disappoint. We don't know. All I'm saying is I definitely think he has top 5 potential in the class, and he's honestly my favorite player out of the draft class because of what he did in high school. But we don't know if the Kings might not want to select a guy that barely even played in college. We'll have to see. But to answer the question of who I think the Detroit Pistons will select with the 5th overall pick, we're going to have to go with Keegan Murray, and the reason for this is because it's literally what's been reported. Most reports say that they're looking to either get Jaden Ivey or Keegan Murray, or like trade up to get Jaden Ivey. In my opinion, I don't think Jaden Ivey's going to fall down to the 5th pick. No way. He could even go top 3 if we're being honest. I think Murray is their guy, and in my opinion, I straight up think that Shaedon Sharpe has more potential as a prospect, and in my opinion, I think they should probably take him. But especially when you realize they don't even have that much of shooting guards on their team. They have no real like young shooting guard that has like crazy potential. They don't really need a power forward. They don't really have a power forward either. You know, it's their decision. But I think they're definitely going to draft Keegan Murray, and I bet you he's going to be available. Not saying he's a bad prospect or anything close to that, but I'm just saying I think I would rather take Shaedon Sharpe if I was them. Let's just all hope Detroit can knock on this pick, because they've been mediocre forever. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know who you think the Pistons will draft. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want us to go over 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video. I do respond to all of my comments. And play that intro.